Good morning, YouTube. When I said in my last Leaf video that the Leafs were playing on Monday, I meant the Monday after the All-Star break. So sorry for the confusion there, if there was any. They were in Nashville after the layoff. They only had two guys in the All-Star game. Matthews was supposed to be there, but he didn't go for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't really read all that much into it. But they had Marner there as kind of the last guy voted in, and then their goalie Anderson was there, and I think they both put in some solid performances. I didn't get to watch anything, unfortunately, but yeah, it is what it is. All-Star weekend is always like it's like a novelty. I don't know. I used to love it when I was a kid when it was just a game, and now they've kind of split it up into these scrimmages between different conferences as a tournament, which I kind of like, but I also kind of don't. And I like more of the skills competition to see what they do there, the new events they come up with, who participates in them, and how it all shakes out. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. In Nashville last night, the start of this game, the first period was very fast paced, a little bit sloppy here and there, but for the guys being off for over a week, it didn't look like they had lost that much of an edge. It was very quick, like I said, and there didn't seem to be that kind of rust you get after the Christmas break when everybody's been stuffing themselves with turkey and whatnot. Like I said, it was a little sloppy here and there, just guys probably getting their timing back a bit. But yeah, it was fairly fast paced, evenly played. Nashville maybe had a slight edge in the first, especially as the first period wore on. But the scoring all took place in the first half of the period, just over 4 minutes in. Sandin just a long flip pass from his own. I don't know if he was behind the goal line, but he was really down low, and he just flipped it straight down the ice up in the air. Caught Nylander streaking through the middle, and he went in on a breakaway, beat Rene for a 1-0 lead. 40 seconds later, the Predators tied it up, but then just a couple minutes later, there was some work down low going on, some chances, and then Hyman was kind of Johnny on the spot and just kind of whacked it, and in through the pads it went. And 2-1 Leafs before the halfway point of the first, and then that was all the scoring the period would see. And like I said, Nashville kind of took over. Second period was a different story. The Leafs finally got going in full force, got their possession game going a bit more. At times, it almost seemed like the Leafs were on a power play, and I checked, and it was 5-on-5. Like it was that good at times. Now, it wasn't the whole period or the whole game or anything. It was kind of these little fits and starts that came and went. But they managed to pile on two more goals in the first half of the period. It was Sandin with his first NHL goal, which to go on along nicely with his assist in the first period. Again, more work down low by Kerfoot and somebody else. They were banging around, and Nylander, I think, was the other guy down there. And it was kind of a goalmouth scramble. The net tipped up. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on down low, and then it kind of squibbed out on a rebound. And Sandin just came in off the left point a bit and just wired it home. And it looked like they might have gone to review it a little bit at first, but then they let it go, and that was his first goal. It was a nice one. And in the second half of the period, Spezza would get the other Leaf goal. He was just cruising down the right wing. They let him get too close. He got in a little tighter than the dot and just ripped one short side over the glove of Rene, like right beside his mask. It was a beautiful shot. He can still shoot the puck, that's for sure, and he can still dangle too. So, and it's nice, like with Marleau being gone, like he wasn't that of a factor as a point producer anymore, but he was that kind of veteran guy who'd been to many rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs and that sort of thing, right? So it's nice to have a guy like Spezza in the lineup more often than not, right, with that experience factor, because they're still a very, even though they made the playoffs the last 3 years, they're still a very young team. I mean, the first year in the playoffs was everybody's first year. Like Matthews and Marner and all those guys together, like that was their first year. They're still only a few years in the league, right? So, so that experience factor and stuff, it goes a long way. As good as they are, they still need, having experience, no matter how good you are, is always a plus. Third period, the Leafs really took over. It started to get a little ridiculous. Like I said, the 5-on-5 looking like a power play. It was happening even more in the third period. But Nashville would manage to cut the... Oh God. Always tired. Cut the deficit to 4-2 about I think it was like 12, 13-minute mark into the period. And after that, it was like they made their final push in the game. In the last 6, 7 minutes of the game, they were really coming hard. But the Leafs managed to hold on. Unlike the game against, was it New Jersey? After the Christmas break or whatever, the Leafs were cruising in that game. They got a big lead going on, and then in the third period, they just kind of got loosey-goosey, as teams do as they're protecting a lead, and stopped playing, and it ended up being 6-4 or something like that. It ended up being a lot closer than it should have been, and so that was kind of, that's the danger of getting a 4-1 lead going into the third, is that you just try to defend and you let back, and you kind of give them that bit of spark, let them get a few chances and get their mojo going. The Leafs did a much better job of not doing in this game. But Nashville still did have a really good push. But Freddie was great, and the Leafs stood tall, and Matthews iced it for a 5-2 win with an empty netter with almost more than a minute left. It was pretty soon into the goalie pull that they got the goal. So 5-2 victory off the All-Star break. Muzzin was back in the lineup after his lengthy injury. Trevor Moore was back after his lengthy injuries. So I think Riley is the only guy I can think of that's still out right now. Very significant piece, of course, but they're finally starting to get some guys back, and it'll be interesting once they're able to ice their full roster, what decisions they make in terms of personnel, and just how well the team plays. Kapanen left the game early on. He only played a few minutes. Some sort of arm injury. They didn't really expand on that, but so it could be tit for tat, right? They got some guys back. They're going to lose some more. That's the way their season has seemed to go this year. So, but overall, I'll take it. Nashville's a good defensive club, so for the Leafs to put up a 5 spot, the goals keep on coming, and for once only letting in 2 goals, limiting it no 3, 4, 5 goal games against. That's nice to see as well. So we'll see if they can keep the momentum going, because we're in the back half of the schedule here after the All-Star break. This is where things get really tight as the teams jockey for playoff position, and it's not going to be easy the rest of the way. The Leafs apparently have a really hard schedule too compared to some other teams, so yay, that's great. But it'll be a good test. It'll be a good way for them to you'd rather go into the playoffs beating a bunch of really good teams than beating a bunch of so-so teams. At least kind of that you earned your way in, and you're going to be playing at the top of your game, going into that all-important postseason. So we'll see what happens, and until the next game, I'll continue to hopefully have a great week, and I hope you do too. So long.